There's a silent war unfolding in every conversation, every meeting, every relationship. Yet almost no one sees it. No blood is spilled, no voices are raised, and still, the outcome determines who leads and who follows. It's the war of presence, a psychological battlefield where power moves through glances, micro-expressions, and pauses more lethal than words. You've felt it before. The sudden tension in a room when someone enters who doesn't need to speak to command attention. The way your body subtly adjusts, your tone softens, your breathing changes, all without conscious thought. That's not coincidence. It's biology responding to hierarchy. Human interaction is a constant exchange of dominance and submission signals, but we've been taught to ignore them. We pretend equality exists in every room, that confidence can be faked through noise. Yet those who truly hold power don't need volume. They control tempo, rhythm, space, the tilt of a head, the stillness after a question, the delayed blink. These are the invisible blades of influence. Most people mistake charm for control or kindness for weakness. But the Machiavellian mind knows that true manipulation is subtle. It hides inside gestures that appear harmless, inside moments of silence that pull others into compliance. You think you're choosing freely, but your body has already surrendered before your mind catches up. Watch carefully. Who stands still when everyone moves? Who maintains calm when tension rises? Who looks and who looks away first? These are not coincidences. They are power hierarchies written in flesh. Beneath language, beneath logic, a primal order governs every social exchange. And in that order, those who can read it, win. Machiavelli understood long before modern psychology that power is not about what is said, but what is seen. He knew that influence lives in perception, that people follow not the loudest voice, but the one that radiates inevitability. In The Prince, he never described dominance as shouting commands. He described it as shaping the environment so subtly that others obey without realizing they be chosen to. Real control is invisible, psychological, and physical. It begins in how you occupy space. Modern behavioral science simply gave names to what Machiavelli already saw. Proxemics, mirroring, dominance displays, submissive cues. But the principle is the same. Power starts in the body long before it reaches the tongue. Every hierarchy, from kingdoms to office politics, forms first through silent negotiation. The eyes meet, posture adjusts, breath synchronizes or resists, and in that instant, two nervous systems decide who leads. The conscious mind plays catch-up, rationalizing what the body already knows. This is why Machiavelli warned rulers to master appearances, not words. The body is appearance. It is the first and most ancient form of communication. Before civilization, before language, power was expressed through stillness, gaze, and presence, traits that still rule us today under new disguises: confidence, charisma, authority. Modern psychology calls it nonverbal dominance behavior. Machiavelli called it strategy. To control perception is to control reality. And yet, most people are blind to these exchanges, fluent only in words, while their bodies confess everything. They over-explain, fidget, laugh nervously, break eye contact, revealing submission while believing they're asserting themselves. The Machiavellian reads these cracks effortlessly. To him, every gesture is a confession, every micro-movement a map, and so the truly powerful need not speak. They let others reveal who serves and who rules. The body is a mirror that cannot lie. It betrays thoughts the mouth denies, emotions the mind tries to suppress, and strategies the ego hopes to conceal. Every twitch, every pause, every flicker of the eyes carries a trace of the psyche's true agenda. The moment you step into a room, before a single word is spoken, your nervous system has already broadcast a silent message. I submit, I dominate, or I'm uncertain. It's instantaneous, unconscious, and brutally honest. The body leaks what the mind edits. And while most people are deaf to this hidden language, the Machiavellian sees it fluently. He reads it like a confession written in motion. Micro-expressions reveal suppressed emotions, a flash of contempt, a tightening jaw, a subtle flinch. Posture exposes hierarchy. The one who expands owns space. The one who contracts apologizes for existing. Stillness, when deliberate, is magnetic. It communicates control, confidence, even threat. Yet the paradox lies here. The more someone tries to appear harmless or unaware, the louder their body becomes. False humility trembles, forced smiles strain, exaggerated calm stiffens. Power cannot truly be hidden. It radiates through congruence. The body of a person who knows they hold control behaves differently at every level, relaxed, precise, unreactive. The Machiavellian understands that every social interaction is a negotiation of subtle dominance. Words are merely theatre. The real dialogue happens beneath them, between two bodies scanning for cues of weakness or superiority. A fraction of hesitation, an avoided glance, a nervous laugh, each is a surrender signal in the primal hierarchy. The invisible mechanism of power isn't spoken, it's felt. The body is the stage where intent and fear reveal themselves without consent. And those who can see this silent conversation hold an advantage more dangerous than charm or intellect. The power to interpret what others done, to even realize they re-saying. Picture a meeting room filled with tension. The air hums with the subtle electricity of competition. Two colleagues disagree. One is loud, animated, gesturing wildly, as if trying to force his opinion into existence. He leans forward, voice sharp, words tumbling out faster than his breath can sustain. His movements fill the space, but his energy leaks desperation. Across the table sits the other, quiet, unmoving, composed. His hands rest calmly, his breathing steady, eyes fixed but not hostile. He doesn't interrupt, doesn't rush to defend himself. He simply observes. The room begins to tilt toward him. Without speaking, he's already won. The louder man mistakes noise for authority, but instinctively everyone feels the imbalance. The silent man's stillness radiates confidence, an unspoken message that he doesn't need to fight to be right. The louder he's attacked, the quieter he becomes, and that calm starts to feel like gravity. People glance at him for cues, their nervous systems align with his. This is how true dominance works. It doesn't demand attention, it absorbs it. The loud man's energy burns fast, defensive, volatile, reactive. The calm one conserves his, controlling not just himself, but the tempo of the room. When the argument ends, no one remembers the words shouted. They remember the presence that didn't flinch, the still figure who seemed untouchable. This is the Machiavellian art in motion, the power of controlled absence. By refusing to mirror chaos, he defines himself as the stable center. Silence becomes his weapon, patience his form of pressure. The others sense it subconsciously. His restraint feels dangerous, his composure unsettling. Because deep down everyone recognizes what the body already knows. The person who doesn't need to prove power is the one who truly possesses it. The most dangerous form of power never declares itself. It wears the mask of grace. It smiles, listens, compliments, and disarms. It hides in gestures so refined they seem harmless. A steady gaze held a moment too long, a touch on the shoulder that feels reassuring but establishes ownership. This is the paradox of Machiavellian power. It thrives not through confrontation, but through the illusion of cooperation. The truly dominant figure doesn't threaten, they persuade. They never push, they invite. They never demand, they make others offer. By appearing agreeable, they lower defenses, allowing influence to unfold unnoticed. Politeness becomes their camouflage, charm their weapon. While others chase validation through displays of strength, the strategist observes, collecting invisible data. How quickly someone laughs, how eagerly they agree, how long they hold eye contact before averting it. Each reaction reveals a weakness to be exploited later. To the Machiavellian mind, human interaction is not emotional exchange, but behavioral mapping. Every gesture, every hesitation, every smile is an opportunity to test control. The wolf hides beneath the manners of the lamb, waiting for the moment others relax enough to expose their throat. What makes this paradox truly lethal is that it's fueled by empathy, but not the kind born from compassion. It's cognitive empathy, the ability to understand others deeply without sharing their feelings. The strategist mirrors your emotions to guide you where they want you to go. Their warmth isn't false, it's functional. It's not deceit in the traditional sense, but a higher form of manipulation, one where the victim feels comforted even as they being led. Machiavelli understood that true dominance is not about intimidation, but invisibility. The ruler who appears kind is the one most trusted, and therefore most obeyed. In a world obsessed with appearing strong, the ones who appear harmless rule effortlessly. This entire mechanism works because human beings are wired for comfort, not truth. Most people would rather be reassured than awakened. They seek validation like oxygen, unconsciously molding their behavior to win approval. It begins in childhood. We learn that acceptance equals safety, and disapproval equals pain. So as adults we perform, adapt, and over-explain. We focus on the words people say, because words can be twisted into comfort. But the body never lies, and the Machiavellian knows that. He doesn't need to provoke or argue. He simply watches. Silence becomes his psychological scalpel, cutting through appearances. When you stop talking, people fill the void with confession. They reveal themselves through the smallest physical betrayals, a tightening jaw when criticized, a fake laugh after rejection, a sudden change in breathing when lying. The Machiavellian uses these leaks not to attack, but to understand. His control doesn't come from domination, but from awareness. He knows what others don't want him to see, their fears, desires, insecurities, and that knowledge itself creates imbalance. Most people act from unconscious impulses. He acts from observation. While they chase approval, he studies their dependency on it. That's the paradox of manipulation. It thrives on self-ignorance. The less aware you are of your own signals, the easier you are to control. You think you're hiding anxiety, but your shoulders collapse inward. You think you're projecting confidence, but your breath betrays strain. The Machiavellian doesn't need to create weakness. He reveals the weakness that's already there. He becomes a mirror. And in that mirror, people expose the very levers that can move them. Power, in its purest form, is not about force. It's about precision. It's not in what you say or even do, but in what you see, and what you allow others to unknowingly display. Across history, the strategist appears again and again under different names: king, emperor, philosopher, diplomat, spy. He is the archetype of silent command, the one who bends the world not by force but by the quiet calibration of his presence. He doesn't shout orders. He creates gravity. People orbit him without realizing why. His stillness unnerves those who mistake noise for power. His composure disarms those who expect aggression. The strategist's strength lies in what he withholds, his reactions, his impulses, his need to prove. To rule without words is to master the most ancient form of influence, energetic dominance. You can see this archetype in every era. The emperor who gazes across his court and controls it with a single raised eyebrow. The negotiator who says almost nothing, but listens so deeply that others reveal their entire position. The predator who never hunts, who waits motionless until the prey's own movement seals its fate. Even in modern society, this pattern repeats. The CEO whose calm silence intimidates a boardroom, the therapist who speaks little but guides the entire conversation, the manipulator whose charm conceals an exact reading of human nature. Power through awareness, not action. Machiavelli didn't invent this archetype. He decoded it. The strategist understands that influence is not something you do, it is something you become. He radiates control because he has mastered himself first. His energy is coherent, deliberate, unwavering. When others project chaos, he absorbs it without being moved. That's why people follow him, not because he demands obedience, but because his stillness feels inevitable. This archetype doesn't disappear. It evolves. It lives in every person who chooses observation over reaction, restraint over performance, precision over passion. True authority is timeless because it operates on a frequency deeper than language, the vibration of presence itself. We live in an age where expression has become compulsion. Everyone is talking, posting, sharing, explaining, desperate to be seen, desperate to be understood. The modern world confuses visibility with value, mistaking volume for strength. We've built entire economies on the currency of attention, And yet, in this frenzy of exposure, true power retreats deeper into silence. The more people scream for validation, the easier it becomes for the quiet observer to control the stage. The Machiavellian doesn't need to perform. He lets the performers exhaust themselves. While they seek to impress, he studies. While they fight to be heard, he calculates what silence can do that noise never could. Social media has turned self-expression into an addiction, but what most don't realize is that overexposure is self-sabotage. Every post, every reaction, every public emotion becomes data, psychological ammunition for those who know how to read it. You tell the world your insecurities disguised as opinions, your loneliness disguised as humor, your fears disguised as confidence. The modern court of power is digital, but the laws are ancient. The one who reveals less holds more control. The Machiavellian understands that in a society obsessed with openness, mystery becomes a weapon. We mistake performance for authenticity. Influencers flex dominance through aesthetics. Body language coaches teach imitation rather than awareness, and everyone plays at being powerful. But imitation always leaks tension, and tension betrays insecurity. The truly powerful don't need to appear dominant. They let others assume they are harmless. That's their camouflage in an age of overexposure. The algorithm rewards visibility. Strategy rewards invisibility. In a culture where everyone is desperate to be seen, the most intelligent move is to disappear in plain sight. Silence in this era is not emptiness, it's mastery. And while the world performs for the spotlight, the Machiavellian stands in the shadows, quietly directing it. The body is where power lives, breathes, and reveals itself. It is the oldest language humanity has ever spoken, a sacred choreography of dominance and submission that has survived every civilization. Every tilt of the head, every hesitation, every pause before speech is a signal in a silent game that has been unfolding since the first tribes gathered around firelight. The battlefield is not external, it's neurological, energetic, psychological. Two nervous systems meet and negotiate status long before the intellect intervenes. One expands, the other contracts. One slows down, the other fidgets. This is not coincidence. It's instinct wrapped in centuries of social camouflage. To the unconscious, these exchanges look meaningless. Random gestures, personality quirks, just how people are. But to the conscious observer, every gesture becomes a move, every breath a revelation. You see who commands and who complies, who manipulates and who dissolves. A simple crossing of arms can be a fortress, a subtle lean backward, a declaration of superiority. And the still gaze, the one that doesn't chase validation, can silence an entire room. This is what Machiavelli understood, that the body is both the mask and the truth beneath it. When awareness awakens, the illusion of neutrality vanishes. You start to see the invisible architecture of every interaction, the psychic fencing match beneath small talk, the unspoken tension woven through handshakes and smiles. You begin to sense the energetic geometry of power, who expands, who shrinks, who commands space without effort. Once you see this, you cannot return to blindness. The world becomes transparent, each encounter a ritual of psychological positioning. It's unsettling at first, like seeing the strings behind a puppet show. But then it becomes clarity, liberation. Because when you understand that power has always spoken through the body, you finally stop being its unknowing participant and start becoming its conscious player. Once awareness takes root, nothing feels the same. Conversations slow down. You begin to see instead of merely react. The game that once seemed chaotic now reveals a pattern, a rhythm of power, insecurity, and intent. You notice who leans in too eagerly, who laughs too loudly, who mirrors your every move like a puppet hoping for approval. You recognize charm not as warmth but as strategy, silence not as awkwardness but as control. You no longer get caught in the surface of words. You hear the music beneath them, the tempo of influence, the pulse of fear. This vision doesn't make you paranoid. It makes you precise. You stop confusing aggression for strength, confidence for arrogance, vulnerability for weakness. You learn to adjust your energy instead of your words, to respond through stillness rather than defense. The awareness itself becomes armor, not against others but against your own blindness. Power stops being something external to resist or chase. It becomes something internal to master. You start moving through the world with a quiet equilibrium, untouchable, unprovoked, awake. Power that lasts is never loud. It doesn't rush to prove itself or demand recognition. It simply is. True strength moves through observation, not assertion. The one who can wait without anxiety, who can hold silence without filling it, becomes the gravitational center in any room. Aggression wastes energy trying to dominate. Patience absorbs it and redirects it. Dominance, when real, isn't something others are told to feel. It is something their bodies sense before their minds understand why. The pulse slows, the breath changes, the hierarchy forms. Everything the intellect hides, the body exposes. Fear leaks through posture. Deceit flickers in the eyes. Insecurity vibrates in every forced smile. The wise don't react to words, they listen to physiology. To read the body is to see beneath language, beneath persona, into the raw mechanics of human nature. Power belongs to those who can remain conscious while others perform. They don't conquer, they calibrate. They don't control others, they master perception, because in the end, awareness itself is the highest form of dominance. Look closely at the world around you. Observe the subtle theater unfolding in every interaction, the handshakes, the smiles, the small nods of agreement. Who conceals their claws behind a gesture of politeness? Who hides competition inside warmth? The truth is, most people don't realize how much their bodies are confessing. Every nervous laugh, every shift of posture, every blink reveals the story their words are trying to edit. The Machiavellian doesn't create these stories, they read them. But now with awareness, so can you. You begin to see patterns not just in others, but in yourself. When you feel threatened, does your voice rise? Do your shoulders tighten, your eyes dart away, your body fold inward? Awareness exposes not only external manipulation, but also your own unconscious submission. The body becomes a mirror, one that reflects the parts of you still enslaved by fear, validation, or insecurity. To see clearly is not to judge but to understand. Power starts with observation, and the first subject of that observation must be you. Before learning to read others, learn to see what your own body reveals when silence falls. Because in that stillness, your truth and your potential for mastery are finally exposed. Machiavelli would remind you that power is never announced, it's perceived. Those who truly hold it don't explain, they watch. Every gesture, every silence, every delay becomes a form of speech for those who know how to listen. What you've learned here is not merely observation, it's initiation, the first step into a subtler kind of awareness. Most people will keep reacting to appearances, trapped in the noise of expression. You, however, are beginning to see beneath the mask. So, before you return to the world of constant chatter, pause. Let the silence teach you. Watch how people move when they think no one notices. Watch how they change when observed. Read the pauses between words. That's where intent hides. This is the first lesson in the body's hidden politics, the art of influence without performance. If you choose to continue, know that the next lesson won't be spoken. It will happen in the space between glances, in the discipline of stillness. Power doesn't speak, it waits, and it recognizes those ready to see.